God's been speaking to me for quite a while now about rest and being in a place of rest. And that's not physically doing nothing. It means resting while you're doing things. It's so easy to get caught up in doing the things that we think need doing and not having time for other things. And in Luke chapter 10, there's a story about Martha and Mary. Jesus was visiting Martha's house, and Mary was sitting and listening to Jesus teach, but Martha was busy in the kitchen doing all the meal, getting all the prep done, and getting pretty annoyed and frustrated that she wasn't getting Mary doing it with her. And she went to Jesus and said, Jesus, don't you think it's pretty unfair that my sister just sits here while I do all the work? Tell her to come and help me. And Jesus said, Martha, you're worried and upset over all these details, but there's only one thing worth being concerned about. Mary has discovered it, and it won't be taken away from her. You see, Martha wasn't doing anything wrong, but she was allowing it to distract her from being with Jesus. It was becoming work for her, and she was getting pretty upset. And what she thought needed to be done was keeping her from being in Jesus' presence. And I've done that so often. And even though I wanted to spend time with Jesus, that was important to me. I had things I wanted to accomplish. I had things that needed to get done in the day. And by the time I did it and I sat down to be with him, I would fall asleep. And it was really bothering me that it wasn't working. And at one point last summer, I had a health scare, which turned out to be nothing, but it took time to find that out. And in the meantime, I was dealing with a panic attack and going to God for help. So I let go of everything, every bit of my schedule, all my agenda, I let it go. And I spent time with him. And more or less what he told me was that he was resetting my life. And that has happened. I've been doing things with him come first. And I've been learning to do that and to let go of the stuff that I thought was so important. Now, at the same time, I have done what Mary and what Martha was doing, thinking all that was important. And so how do we actually change what we're doing? And how do we come into that place of rest? Now, Jesus in Matthew 11 talks about if we come to him when we're burdened and heavy laden, he will give us rest. If we can sit at his feet and learn from him, and he will give us rest for our soul, because his burden is light and his yoke is easy. Now, when he started to teach me that, I would come to him, and still do. When I get weighed down and burdened, I will come to him and say, these are all the things I need to do. These are the things that are on my mind, and I need to do them. I feel overwhelmed. I feel like it's too much. And I would give it all to him. And then his promise is that if we did that, he would give us his rest. So I would wait, and the rest would come gradually. I wait in his presence until everything had lifted. And I would find that more often than not, the things I thought I had to do either got cancelled, they became not important anymore, or I spent time with him and they were easy. So in the end, it all worked out. And I find even now that I have to still practice doing that. If ever I feel weighed down, I have to pay attention and put that into practice in order to make it a lifestyle. Now, a little while ago, a friend came to me from church, and he told me that God was saying I needed to slow down. And in my mind, I was going pretty slow, but I took it seriously. And so I asked God, you're going to have to show me what this means. And a couple of days later, I was going up for a walk, And I remembered I had to go to the grocery store to get a couple of items. And I was going to rush in there, rush out, and get on with my day. But I got in there and I was picking the items off the shelf. And I had this thought, you're not in a rush. You've got plenty of time. And I knew that wasn't my thought. And I said, you're right. I do have plenty of time and I'm not in a rush. And instantly I felt God's presence. And I knew it was him. And there was such a joy and such a freedom in that. And I went about my day. I took my time in the store. I drove down and had a walk and came home. And it's like that's been such a valuable lesson. And I'm still applying it to my life because it's going to take practice. Because I find that if ever I'm speeding up, I catch myself and say, no, I've got plenty of time. If I don't have the time to do it, it's not going to get done. And I have found such a freedom and joy and a place of rest. And God wants us to be there every day. That has to be a lifestyle for us. But how many people are living in that? Probably not many. And even for me, I'm working on it and it's going to get better, but I'm learning. And it's not an overnight fix. We have to be willing to learn from Jesus and find that place of rest just by applying the principles. And I just want to encourage you to come to him with your worries and with your to-do list and give it to him and see what he can do in your life. Because he is faithful, and when he says he'll give you rest, he will do it. He is faithful to do that. And if there's things you don't understand and don't know, and you ask him, he will teach you. And so I just want to encourage you. I want to leave you with that. And I pray God's blessing on you, that he will help you to come into that place of rest and live life in joy and freedom. Bless you.